Hey everyone, I'm Hannah Choi and I am an executive function coach, and I am also a user and a really big fan of the Advocate360's executive function assessment online tool. And so I wanted to make this little video to show you how to do your own assessment and just kind of share some of what I've learned about using this tool and what I like about it. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you find this helpful. All right, so the first thing you're going to do after you log in is create a new profile. So you're going to click on Add Profile here. And you'll want to use a naming convention that preserves the anonymity of this learner, but it also helps you remember who's who. I personally use the first two letters of their first name and the first two letters of their last name. So I'm going to do Josephine Smith today, and Josephine is 12. And she's in 6th grade. We're going to add the profile here. Okay, so now we have the beginnings of the profile, and then you're going to start by clicking on Get Started. Because this is your first assessment, you won't see any other results here, but over time you will be able to track skills as progress is shown through multiple assessments. But for now, we'll just start the first one. So you're going to click on Start Assessment, or you can click on Start Assessment down here. All right, and then you're going to choose your assessment type. The comprehensive, which covers all 11 executive function skills and takes about 30 minutes to complete. I work with older students and adults, so this is the one that I typically use. The foundation type over here is more broad in its assessment, and it takes a shorter amount of time to complete. And it's good for younger learners or those with higher needs. So for the purpose of this video, I am going to select comprehensive. And then the wizard brings up the next question, which is who is taking the assessment? So you have two options here. One, I'm assessing someone else, and I'm taking this myself. Now, I'm assessing someone else will give the questions in third person. And then I'm taking this myself will give the questions in first person. So what you'll want to choose is the one that makes the most sense for who's going to be taking the assessment. I am assessing someone else today for this video, so I'm going to select this. But I often use this one because I send it to my clients to fill out for themselves. Then the wizard is going to bring up your response format, and there is the standard text-based format and the visual format with smileys, which I'm going to choose today because it's more fun. So you just choose whatever works best for your client and your needs. All right, then you click on Begin Assessment. The next step is the optional screener, and you'll see here that there is an option to share a link with your client, a parent, or a teacher. But just remember that how you selected in the wizard, whether it's first person or third person, is going to be the same format for how it is shared. And then there's an option to skip the screener right here. I typically don't skip the screener. For this video, I am going to skip the screener, but the screener gives a brief kind of overview of some executive function areas that might need the most attention. So that the responses will help the system prioritize assessment modules in the next round. Because I'm going to be demoing the whole thing, I'm going to actually skip the screener. Okay, so once you've made it to the executive function assessment part, whether you did the screener or not, you're now going to go through each of the assessment areas and drill down to kind of get to the deeper explanation of what's going on with your client's executive functioning. I'm going to use the magic of technology to zip through the rest of this assessment because I know you're not going to want to sit there and watch me fill it out. But before I do that, I do want to point out something. So as you go through, you will see that there is an option to add comments. So you can click on Add Comments, and you can, add some context or an observation here that might impact or explain more about the answer that you've given. And what this does is later, when the assessment program compiles all the results, it will take into consideration the notes that you add here, and it enriches the responses. And so that you, as the coach, or you as the teacher, do get more information and more support that's more specifically tailored to your learner. So I do really encourage you to take some time, if you can, to add in some of this context. So I'm going to go through the rest of this now and fill it out, and then I'll meet you back at the end when I'm done. All right, so then when you're done, you're going to click Finish and Return, which will bring you to this page. You're going to click Mark Complete. If you want to go back in and add some more comments, you can add that in now before you hit Mark Complete. But I'm all set, so I'm going to click Mark Complete, and then it double checks again and reminds you that you can't edit it, so just double check there, and then it's going to generate the assessment report. So this takes a few moments to do this while it's thinking. All right, so Advocate360 now takes everything into account and gives you this report. And so first, it gives you a 1-paragraph summary, a little assessment overview. And then it begins to list the key strengths and the priority development areas. Now, these percentages reflect how independently the person is functioning for each executive function skill area right now. And so these percentages are calculated by taking the score for that skill area and dividing it by the highest possible score for that section. So a higher percentage means that the skill is more independent, and lower percentages mean more support is likely needed right now. So we can see here that Josephine does well with emotional control and impulse control. She needs some extra support in problem solving and time management. And then you can scroll down and you can see the module results for each section. If you keep scrolling down, it also shows some resources. These are some accommodations and supports to consider. If you click on that, it gives you lots of really great strategies to try with your clients. You can also click on using these insights, and it kind of gives you a step-by-step guide for interpreting and applying the assessment. And then you can then look at the module details and click on it and see how they answered. I really like to go over these with my clients. We'll talk about each specific question and to see if they have some thoughts, or I can help them interpret that information and give them an additional perspective for looking at all of this. Oh. All right, you can also download the report here. You click on download, and then it's going to give you the option of either downloading it as a PDF or a Microsoft Word doc. So, all right, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that overview.